This is Stacy from Truly Majestic. Today we are making this dotty cactus in the sunset. The first thing I did was draw on my very basic raw bones design. And sorry you guys, you can't see anything from the video, but I am going to show you a picture here, ta-da, of generally what I just drew on that you can't see. That's why you should use matte paint and not gloss paint when you're using black. Now I am just taking a wire, a boring wire. You can find wires anywhere. You can undo a paper clip and use it if you want. I'm just taking a wire because it's small enough and dipping it in my white paint and then dotting along the design that I made for my cactus. Now if you notice when I'm dotting, I start at the base point of where one of the cactus lobes should be, and then when I dip the second time, I start in the opposite direction and dot down to where I last made my dots and meet up in the middle. I do this because if you first have bigger dots on your wire, and as you dot down, it gets smaller and smaller and smaller. So if you go always one direction, it'll look like waves. You'll have a giant big dot and then down to small, and then giant big dot down to small. So when I did it this way, it starts with a big dot, it goes to small, and then it carries on small and back up to big. So it's more of a flowing look to it. Hello, 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 hello. So I think I should tell you guys that I am using acrylic paint. However, I didn't have enough white acrylic paint to complete this project. And because the acrylic paint that I do have is like insanely thick, it's a medium body paint, and really you want something more drippy for this project, I just used normal wall paint. Don't tell anybody else that, but regular wall paint emulsion works really good for this kind of project. However, if you want to paint it on a larger area and kind of like smooth it out and not do dots, it's really horrible for that because it isn't highly pigmented and you can see through it. But for dots, it really works super great. And because I had tons of leftover from the last time I painted my ceilings white, it's really a good option for me. So you don't have to just use acrylic paint. Almost any paint will work. Okay, so I'll just let you guys watch the dotting with some nice music. And if you don't like my music, you can always hit the mute button. Okay, I'm going to be adding my sunset now, and to do that I'm just dotting around white paint around the center, kind of like a half circle. And after I get this dotted through, and I'm trying to make the dots kind of as tight as possible, after I get this dotted out, I'm also going to add some extra dots around the outside here and there to kind of make this blend into the next color. And the next color I do the same. I do it nice and tight around this, and then I dot it out to blend into the next color. So we're going to go white and then yellow and then orange and then red. So I'll just let you guys watch that, and then we'll get on with the next section. Okay, continuing on with our cactus, I'm dotting green around, some big dots, some little dots, just dots everywhere. But on one edge of my cactus lobes, which you can't see really well from the video, I've left it kind of with minimal dots on it. And I'm going to go back over those in a little bit with another shade darker green to give it some highlights and accents and make it kind of look like it's a little bit more 3D. Okay, now we're moving on to my favorite part of rock painting, and that is swipes, or swoops, or whatever you would like to call them. So these are made by laying your wire down a little bit flatter and then pulling outward gently until the paint finishes on the wire. And so you'll be left with these nice little swishes, or swoops, or swipes, or whatever you would like to call them. So now we're going to continue dotting with blue, and this blue was a lot darker than I had anticipated, and it's very difficult to see, but it does look nice on the rock, but I would have gone several shades lighter. Now I'm going to be adding blue all over this area like it's a little lake or a stream or something, and then some green and white kind of under where the cactus is to look like a bit of a reflection on the water. So I don't have any pattern for that. I'm just kind of randomly dotting around and then filling the rest up with blue. Alright, it's coming together nicely, isn't it? We just have to add some highlights onto the brown swoops, and I'm going to put this in a little dotty frame of gold. So I'm using this stick, this is just a plain bamboo stick, By the way, a back of a pencil works great, or any other thing that you have that's flat. And I'm just dotting around with my gold paint, nothing special. Okay, so after I finished dotting this with gold, I did leave it to dry in the sun for about an hour. You can always use a hair dryer, that does make the process go much faster, but I left it drying in the sun for mine. Now I'm coming back to this after it's dried with white to go on each one of those little swipes. You can go in the middle, on the sides, wherever you want to go on them. I chose to go off to the side of all of these swipes, and it just kind of adds a little highlight to make it look like the sun is glistening off of these, or they're a little bit 3D, and it turned out really well in the end. Be sure to subscribe to my channel if you've enjoyed this tutorial, or if you have any suggestions for other tutorials that you would like to see on stone painting. I would love to have your ideas. I always like to know what my audience actually wants to see.